Not Going Back, where did that come from?
Well, when Not Going Back started was... It's funny, isn't it, how so many different songs start in so many different places. But this song started with just a title, which was Not Going Back.
What was the title?
This title was Slavery Days.
Okay.
But it
should have kept that.
But I had a bunch of basically titles of songs. And what I mean by, where songs start is don't write off like just having a title as a thing. That can often spark a whole song. So I had this title, Slavery Days, which I took to Hen, along with a whole bunch of other titles, and Hen said, "Oh, well, let's write a song called Slavery Days."
It jumped out.
It jumped out of the pen.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
It hasn't lasted, but along with that, we were looking at the verse from Galatians 5:1, which was, "It was for freedom that Christ has set us free, so don't be burdened again by a yoke of slavery." So this sort of Slavery Days thing was like, oh, don't go back to the slavery days. Like the life Jesus has won for us, let's live in that. So that was the sort of theme that we wanted to capture in a song. And we started talking... Hen, you were talking about baptisms, weren't you? And baptisms of St. Peter's.
Again, it's just sometimes helpful writing worship is imagining where the context in which it's going to be in, or where you want to lead people. Like, to what place would you want to lead people? And for this, actually, we had kind of the idea that, like, we'd love a song, for example, would be, you'd lead it after a baptism service. So people just kind of declared that they're going to give their life to Jesus, they're going to get baptized into the water, out of the water. And then it's like kind of statement of, I'm not going back to those days. This is kind of where, this is my future. I'm a new creation. Yeah, this is where I'm going now. Kind of gone out with the old, in with the new.
Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, Slavery Days are done.
Yeah, so we ended up with basically 2 or 3 sections, and then it was a really interesting team thing again. So Hen and I took these 2 or 3 sections to the wider team.
I went in the studio and owned it hard. You're talking about someone owning it. I owned it, man, but it got cut, my section. I only just found that out like a couple of minutes ago that it was been cut.
Yeah, we nearly had a rap.
Yeah, it didn't make it. Sorry, mate.
Was it always an upbeat song when you first writing it, or did you need it to fit that?
I think it was actually. It did feel upbeat, and I think that's again where it worked well with the kind of Slavery Days, like title and like kind of theme. It's like, oh, it only worked because it was kind of like upbeat.
This song was an interesting one because it really nearly didn't make it on. Yeah. Because we just couldn't quite finish the song. Do you want to talk about sort of the sections and chopping the arrangement?
I mean, we tried it in every variation you can think of, like the chorus as the verse as the bridge like this. We had all the sections, but we just didn't know how to make it feel like a cohesive one song. Yeah. We really felt like in the end that the Not Going Back, like that was a really catchy melody, as a really catchy hook, as well as the essence of what we wanted to say. So once we made that the feature, then kind of fitted all the other sections to make it end up there, and that seemed to work. But again, we tried it so many times at church and in different orders, and some didn't go so well.
Yeah, and we sent it to a friend, and who had this little production idea, and even that. Is that right? Was that the riff? Was that the riff?
Sounds so different in a different context.
Sounds like the end of a children's.
That was the riff, though.
Yeah. So we sent it to Jimmy James, the king of dance music.
Yeah, but that helped it kind of glue it together, didn't it? And sort of
sounds more like a Slavery Days riff to me.
It built over time, didn't it? It sort of the puzzle came together, and actually right up until the night on that one, the day before the live recording, we were still emailing each other and texting each other different lyrics and
getting the lyric video. Like, has it actually got the right lyrics?
Yeah, we had to keep change. Yeah, we made the video for the anniversary for the worship night, kind of all these visuals and stuff. We just had to keep going back, like, another change. Yeah. Unfortunately, we were able to change it just in time.
Ironic, the song's called Not Going Back.
But more recently we've led the song. It's such a great song it releases so much joy, so much freedom. It's done that theme that we really wanted. We led it at a baptism service recently at St. Peter's, which was the moment we'd kind of anticipated.
And it bombed.
It was brilliant. You know, the bridge. Now my life is a new creation. I will follow the light of the sun. It was amazing. People really, yeah.
Like if we'd only led it that one time, I think it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
But we want to lead it some more.
I'm looking forward to you guys leading it at, like a big event or something with like tons of people. That it just like really then will start thumping off.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
We led Not Going Back kind of for the first time. And we led on a Sunday morning. And it was so savage. It was Sunday morning. I don't think loads of people were there as well. But
Not Going Back is quite a banger.
Yeah, so the song is quite upbeat. It's quite energetic. And we thought, yeah, we're going to do it. Me and Johnny were both in the band.
Well, let's just go for it.
We're going to go for it. It was so difficult. So we kind of started in, everyone trying to get people to clap. I kind of basically, often when you're leading worship, you should really look at people and kind of like you're trying to lead kind of
care about who's there.
Yeah. This time it was like I can't look at you. You kind of shut down to whatever's happening out there and just kind of close your eyes and just jump around
and just make it through.
It
was kind of like someone had died. Like, tumbleweeds going through. And
you just can't wait.
And us on stage are like giving it everything, but
the only movement is the bass. Like people are just like pulsating.
I think though the really positive thing is because it's been such a process for us, but it's not just been a process for us. It's been a process with the congregation as well. So one of the really positive, I don't know if we all feel this, but I think this is true. It's felt like the church's record as well. So everyone's been on the journey. They've all been journeying with the different versions of the songs and the process behind it all. So then what you see on the record, which is to say is the 10-year anniversary of St. Peter's Brighton and a kind of heightened moment for us as a church, it is sort of the sort of real back end of a long process a lot of Sunday mornings, a lot of tags, you trying things, and it's amazing when you, because I suppose an important part of the Bright City vision is that we believe it's prophetic that we're using our own songs in our context. It's sort of unlocking something for his kingdom in our city that might not even be unlocked if we didn't use that song. So I think it's really important to us, isn't it? But so what you see on the record now, I think, is a lot of church ownership as well, which we feel so grateful for.
How do you know when the song's finished, or is it the fact you've got to record it on the night? Because I swear you were changing lyrics right up until that was put down on tape.
Last moment,
to the very end, yeah.
The very day we were changing lyrics.
No regrets?
I mean, nothing's ever done, is it?
I think that's right, yeah.
But that's part of the
There's
fun.
a moment you have to move on. But we're really happy with it, I think. And we know we did everything we could up until that moment to make it as good as it could be. So,
and I think the process for us was quite brutal because you asked a question earlier about who was driving the kind of changes there's that verse in there, iron sharpens iron. I think we were all pushing one another the whole time, like that probably could be better, that right up until the very last day. So that is an amazing experience. It's quite painful, but I think creativity like that can be quite painful because it's so close to you. But that's where the community like this is important too, though, because you have to kind of, what would anyone else say?
You have to make yourself vulnerable, don't you?
And to be told that it could be better. Say actually that's good, but let's push harder.
Yeah, it's quite hard when you're like, oh, this is sick, we've nailed this, and then someone's like, yeah, could work on that. You're like, that's done. They're like, no, you could let's work on that section. And you're like, oh gosh, that is quite brutal when you feel that.
Yeah,
the only section they want to look at is the one that you're very sure is finished. They're like, let's look at the chorus. No, it's done.
It's off the table. Yeah. I think it only works with the community, doesn't it? It only works because you just, and that's where we've grown is we've like just grown closer to each other. We've written with each other so much more. You kind of understand each other, and you can trust when someone says, "Oh, I think that could be better." It's a trust thing. It's like, "Oh yeah, actually, I think you're right." Like, and you wouldn't be trying to just get your bit in or push your lyric or your melody. It's all for the good of the songs and for leading worship.
There's lots of encouragement and hugs as well.
Yeah. Miles will always say if it's like trust Miles like, that is not good, man.
You have equal
Do I
passion,
really?
equal passion for the either extreme. Like this is
I really
killer.
do that?
Well, this is literally should die.
I did not know you were going to
tears.
say that.
Yeah.
I
No,
was
I'm
sure.
only joking.
Sorry, guys, not feeling it.
I'm not feeling this at all.
Martin on our team's really good for that as well. We showed him a song as part of this process.
Brutal honesty.
Yeah.
Let's get it there. No, it's good.
We
Or,
showed him
like,
this-
or total disengagement if it's not good.
Basically the
Just
same
like-
thing.
Just not interested.
Oh man, there was one time we showed him a song as part of the process, and he said, "Have you got anything else?" I was like, "Okay, sure."